is Ellie. I teach sewing and crafts at the library, and today I'm going to show you how to sew your own pajama pants. So this is a great project for people who are interested in making clothes but aren't sure where to begin. You don't even need to go out and buy a pattern. We're going to use a pair of pajama pants that you already have to draft our pattern. So let's get started. For this project, you will need about 2 to 3, maybe 3.5 yards of fabric, depending on what size pants you're making. One budget-friendly and eco-friendly way to purchase a lot of fabric is to go to thrift stores and look at old bed sheets, curtains, tablecloths. So this is actually an old bed sheet. This is what I'm going to be using to make my new pajama pants. You're also going to need 3/4 inch elastic, some elastic waistband pajama pants to use as your pattern, some fabric scissors, sewing pins and hand sewing needle, some kind of marking tool and a ruler, and then of course a sewing machine and an iron and ironing board. So I folded over one end of the fabric over onto itself, smooth it out real nice, and then laid my pajama pants on top of that so that they lined up with the fold, and I pulled out the crotch. So now we just need to trace around this, but then leave enough space for the seams and the hem that we're going to make. So you're going to add an extra 1 inch to the bottom of the legs, 3 inches to the top, and that's going to give us enough room to put in the elastic, and then 1/2 inch along the long side. So I used a ruler to mark all the way around the pants where I need to cut them. And then whenever I'm cutting a large piece of fabric, I like to put pins in it just to keep it in place, keep it from shifting while I'm cutting. And this is totally optional, but I just got a pair of pinking shears, which cut a zigzag line like this, and this actually prevents fraying. So I'm going to use these to cut the long end of the pants where we're going to have a seam. If not, don't worry about it. You can just use regular fabric scissors as well. So once you have this cut out, fold your fabric over just like we did before and use this new piece as the pattern for the second leg. You should now have 2 pieces that look like this. So now you're going to sew along this long edge of the pants with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, making sure that your fabric is still right sides together. And don't worry about sewing this part with the curve. We're just going along this long straight part. Next, press the seam that you just sewed flat on both sets of legs, and then turn one leg right side out and place it inside the other with the right sides facing like this. Now we're going to pin those 2 edges together, so to make sure it's lined up, match up the 2 seams in the middle and then work your way up the sides. Next we're going to sew this together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. One thing I forgot to mention is that if your original pajama pants are made out of a stretchy material and now you're using something without stretch like cotton, it's a good idea to add 1.5 inches at the waist rather than just 1/2 inch, and then sew it together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance just to make sure you have room to fit in there. Okay, so once you have finished sewing your legs together, pull one of the legs out of the other so that they look like pants, like this. And then go to the waist, fold down a 1/4 inch and give it a press. And then fold down again 1.25 inches like this. You're going to do this all the way around the waist and then sew this down, but make sure you leave about a 2-inch gap in part of the waistband so we can insert the elastic. Next, measure your waist and add 1 inch and then cut your elastic to that length. Then you can take a large safety pin and poke it through one end of your elastic. And we're going to use this to feed our elastic through the casing we just made in the waist. Next, to make sure that the elastic band isn't twisted And then you can take your hand sewing needle and just sew the two ends of the elastic together. It doesn't have to be pretty, we just need to attach them. Once that's done, put it back in the casing and then sew down this gap at your sewing machine. Next we need to hem our pants. So fold up the bottom edge 1/2 inch and give it a press, and then fold it again another 1/2 inch. Press it and put pins in it like this. Now before you sew it down, go ahead and try on the pants to make sure this is a good length. Mine ended up still being a little bit long, so for my second fold, I folded it 1 inch. Now you're just going to sew this down and then repeat for the other pant leg. Here are my completed pajama pants. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time. Bye!